79T 2458 Learning Corp, Little Red Riding Hood, take 1.
40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone. Does that make sense?
Where they say there are Indian people pooping on our beach.
It's a spool of wire. 40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone.
I don't usually post pictures of my kids online, but they're infants and you can barely see them, so, you know, it's fine. But a YouTuber named Ryan Stone tweeted, showing off the F trophies for clout. So the babies are trophies that I'm showing off. It's perhaps not a surprise that a picture of a proud father would be so upsetting to the sort of man who clearly never had one.
There's something about the E-drama. So I'm starting off here on a little weird tangent. I do it all the time. Whatever. I think you're used to it at this point. Welcome to Red Morning, by the way. Hope you're enjoying your Saturday. Yeah, the weird tangent. So obviously, like, Matt Walsh, he just kind of says whatever the teleprompter says. He might have his own views, but they pay him for otherwise. It's Daily Wire. They do the same thing with Peterson. I get it. But, like, the people that are just unhinged, it is the weirdest drama ever. It's like, so it's not pro wrestling, because pro wrestling was fun. It's not like, I'm going to beat your ass in the ring, Hogan. Ooh, yeah. It's not Piper doing his thing where he's like, yeah, I'm going to go fucking crazy. And then just so you know, he's talking real silent. It's not Hogan with his eat your Wheaties, I'm coming for you. It's none of that shit. It's, the reason I'm bringing this up is because today, who was it? Oh, it's like the RAR Squad guys. Dude, you guys are awesome. Kyle and fucking Nuke and all you. Jack, like all this stuff, I would have been completely out of the loop if not for you guys. So it's like bless, namaste. Anyways, Owen Benjamin, I don't know much about this guy. He's like a blonde hair, blue-eyed guy. I know he was in something conservative, and then some shit popped off, and then he wasn't in the thing conservative. And I think he's a comedian, but I haven't heard any jokes from him, which means he's probably a popular comedian. I don't know. Oh, golfer's elbow, you poor bastard. Anyways. So, and like this guy keeps popping up my timeline. Andrew Wilson. He's the other one. He's the one that couldn't open the jar of pickles. And I just realized these guys are like teenage women. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like you shouldn't be starting beef. You shouldn't be causing little drama and gossip. It's marketing. You got to do that. But this doesn't strike me as marketing. Here, I'll put the thing up. It's like you're not really going to care. You don't even really have to look at for what I'm going to say here. But it's just... like online is a business. This is a business. You're ultimately making money promoting your whatever it is you do or doing your podcast. God, a white guy with a podcast. How embarrassing. Anyway, so he has this big rant about how Andrew Wilson did a 4-hour live stream making fun of his dad. And he's angry. So he called Andrew's wife a fat bitch. And now Andrew's like, for once, he doesn't want to debate him. I'm like, dude, you want to debate everybody. There'll be some dude in here talking about the bringing back the Fourth Reich or whatever, and you're just like, let's debate about it. Anyways, the rant and the public record and the clearing my name stuff, that's whatever. But the part that makes me laugh is he has like a clip from Troy underneath his rant. You called my dad a dick. Your wife's a bitch. You wouldn't debate me and defend my honor. This is all on the public record. And then underneath, it's like, that's why nobody will remember your name. And I'm just thinking, like, what are we doing here? You know, what are we doing here? Like, how big is the Owen Benjamin guy? I don't even know. Let me see. 250,000 people wanted to watch and listen to this guy. 250,000 people. That's like, as far as like Twitter accounts go, that's like Seinfeld numbers. And he's up here like, you stop making fun of my dad. Better talk to me about it. Here's a clip of Brad Pitt. Don't fuck with me. Started my Saturday off with Blue Chew and Red Bull, choosing to go out like Kevin Samuels. Oh, yeah. And Geez, that what ended up taking him out? I thought it was the sex and the coke. Interesting. Oh, man. The red morning coffee just hits so much better than everything else. Yeah, hey, what's up, Nuke? It's good to see you, sir. It is tiresome, but that's the thing, right? I realize... I think people have lost the plot. I think we're at peak tarded. I really do, because... I can't believe Ryan's making fun of these guys. Look, he has a stupid video making fun of everybody. Look at his thing on... Where's the beef one I had? This shit.
I've talked to Ryan Stone once. I'm pretty sure the whole conversation, I pushed him like pretty hard.
What was hard, Ariel?
The therapist will essentially give them SSRIs, which I think the sexual effects that SSRIs have on the body, right?
Some. Like, there's tons of, like, MAOs and, like, tricyclics that you're talking about, like, the type of SSRIs that used to be given to pedophiles. We don't give those to men. We don't give those to men. We don't give those to men. But he's not as informed as, like, I think he would like to be. Yeah.
Now, what is he trying to say with this one? If you watch that, yeah, it's like dancing, flashing lights, whatever. It's basically showing you how ridiculous we are. All of it. Like, we're just stupid, we're silly. Oh, I've only talked to him once, and he's kind of an idiot. And then there's like some like normal facts. And then, of course, what everybody does is they throw charts and stats at you. You didn't read any of them because they blast by too fast, but that's kind of the point. When has anybody ever actually looked into where a stat and infographic ever came from? When have they ever verified that it's actually true? They never have. Of course, at the same time, it is true. Those ones are true. 80%, 80, 90% of people are given SSRIs for everything that comes to psychology. And it mutes your dick. But it's the point is, and then she's like, yeah, this guy's an idiot. And then doesn't know basic facts when she claims to be the only thing that would have made that clip better is if I would have had like a clip of Lord of the Rings in there or something, like with the ring, and put like inside the ring, put like my clout or something. I don't even know. Has Substack gone that way? I've noticed an uptick, but I don't see the same nonsense I see here. It's at the point now that I'm just hunting for Indians on Twitter. That's it. As soon as I get a vibe of anybody with like that little, you know how there's like a specific grammar issue, and I'm like, oh, block that one. It is amazing how many large accounts, like Owen Benjamin's real because it's his face, but how many accounts are just as big and influential as him, and they're all Pajit from Bangalore, which drives me nuts. But I mean, yeah, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Is everybody worried that if they stop crying like a bitch, people will forget they exist? Is this like some kind of weird, tarded Tinkerbell? Is this Robin Hood? Or is this Hook? We're never going to grow up unless you crow like a crow. Like, what the... And I get it. It's easy to fall into this trap. Because... And don't take this the wrong way. I mean this as a compliment. Like, the audience, you guys, the ones that are the most important part of this, the guys that make it all happen, you guys are boring. You're awkward. You don't articulate what you're trying to say. Sometimes you're off topic. There's no riz if you're bringing it on a call show, and that's fine. Your job shouldn't be to be the guy blabbing into the microphone, the monkey dancing for quarters. I don't mean that in the racist way. I mean that as in like Dancing Pete. He dances for quarters. And this is, again, a huge shout out to the workshop on Substack. If you guys don't know, I still, this whole time, since we started like 7 years ago, I have had a weekly red pilled workshop. It's essentially a syllabus. I give everybody the sidebar to go through. I give them a space with discretion and, in a group setting, work on your field reports, use your field reports to practice OTA loops, practice your OTA loops in order to, fix the things that are generally wrong in your life. Or actually, to be fair, 80% of it is just identifying and being honest about the things that are bothering you in life. It's not so much like me telling you what to do. It's more so you guys figuring it out for yourself and me guiding so that you don't do the stupid mistakes that everybody else makes, which everybody still does. Anyways, the point of that whole rant was, it keeps me grounded. And so that's like the one thing I appreciate that space for. Even today, like there was a guy a couple weeks back, I'm not going to mention who, but it was just kind of, there were some very obvious mistakes happening, and a lot of guys get angry, right? Because it's collaborative. So what happens is a lot of guys see guys making obvious mistakes. Maybe they're even the mistakes that they used to make when they were younger or earlier on. And so they kind of get mad at the guys like, how do you not notice this? It's so fucking obvious. You're fucking retarded. And I was like, I can't get too mad at that, right? Because it's like this is guys. Guys are ego infested. Guys are ridiculous, and take the worst hard luck case that's ever in the last 7 years come through on my Patreon before and now on the Substack one, and there's been a lot. Not once have I ever looked at it the way I've looked at this Owen Benjamin tweet. Not once. All right, I got to do a pause here because Free Gender $2 super chat test come through just fine. And then below that, Ross the Skunk. I got to put a pause in that because it'll do the two underneath you, and then I'll do Ross the Skunk's one. Nuke with $4.99. A year ago, you were posting about the flood, and I thought, it can't be so bad. But I just got off the smelliest flight in my life. I owe you an apology, man. Dude, that hurts. It actually hurts. Like, I was expecting the diaspora, the Yugoslavification of Canada. We're very weirdly progressive and hipster that way, in which we're like, oh yeah, bring in all the Indians. But like, you live in Texas. That's always been my escape valve, right? It's like, dude, because I kind of, like, to talk to me and to know me, I kind of have more of an American sensibility than Canadian anyway. Like, the big one you'll notice is that Canadians are always polite, but not kind. Americans are always kind, but not polite. And, like, just for that alone. Plus the fact that everybody's been posting, because of all the diaspora that's been going down into America and Canada right now, about, are you a heritage American? And they have, like, the tiers. They have, are you the Mayflower stock? Are you, and there was another group that came in like the 1780s or something like that. I think I just meant like post-Revolutionary War American. And then there was the Ellis Island ones, and then there was the 1960s ones. And it's like, which ones are you? And I kind of looked through my old family genealogy, and my great-grandmother on my mother's side, even though adopted, came down on the railroad, which I'm like, oh, that's cool. So there's that tie there. Plus, I checked, I guess that's the other thing. They like, if your name pops up in the Civil War registry. I've actually got a fairly common name. There was about 1,000 troops of my brethren. Pretty slick. Mostly in the South. Or, I think it was mostly the South. It was like 700 and then 300. I'm pretty sure it was 700 in the South and 300 in the North. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. But I mean, Canada is essentially, in America, it's kind of like Czechoslovakia, you know, Czech Republic and Yugoslavia together. It's like, it's kind of the same thing, even though it's not. But anyways, enough of that. Yeah, so, yeah, it's just, you get it, Nuke. There's a weird nepotism to it, and it's not even a new thing. There was old British people sending letters back home in the 1930s and 1820s and shit like that when they were still living in India. Basically, the same complaints we have are the same ones they have. It's crazy. The nepotism, the incompetence, the overly polite. The only thing they didn't mention was like the curry smell, because I guess the Brits just loved that. They were like, that's actually the one part I like. Like, oh, good for them. It can't be so bad. It is, man. It's weird. It's like, I'm not a hateful person, but like, they task me. He tasks me. Anyways, Free Gender $2 super chat. Please read in comments if I made it there. You, so far, I see you here. The filter caught it, but I got it. But before I read yours, Free Gender, Ross the Skunk sent a $5 super chat. And I hate to be that guy, but I'm never one to shy down from a challenge. How long did we make it this time? 14 minutes, 15 seconds, and that's with like a 2-minute delay.
So the memes, they're very good. This is really, they've taken it.
True Alpha
Named Ryan Stone.
It says, ask Murphy about the article he wrote, cuckolding his wife. Clear up the cuck article. Clear up the cuck article.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
If I wasn't prepared to literally impoverish his entire bloodline,
I am now concerned for my career.
And I still recommend
Clear up the cuck article.
You know what? Fuck you for bringing this up. Yeah. Fuck you. Heartfelt.
I'm not going to have those guys back on my channel again. Absolutely not.
Just use a little bit of fucking common sense.
It is just...
That's great. That's you should.
Fuck you.
Sorry, apologies.
Just keep going, dude. One foot in front of the other. Before you know it, this will all be in the rearview mirror. Fuck you.
God, free gender. I can't figure out how and why. Here, I'm going to try something here. You're having a hell of a time getting, I'm going to give you a wrench. Because you're having a hell of a time just getting basic bitch messages out there. And I'm like, that's not supposed to be. We'll try that out for a bit. So, free gender. Speaking of teen, I'm assuming that means teen rage. Dude, you're going leet speak. This is so 1997. Love it. Speaking of teen rage, boys and Andrew Wilson. Also remembered for running away from a girl in real life. Naked Booty. Oh, yeah. Holy shit, dude. How did I parse that? I'm fucking brilliant. That was the one where that OnlyFans chick, she was like, she was dressed as like a milkmaid or something. And she like was 40. And then she lifted up her skirt, pulled like a Braveheart, like slapping her ass cheeks, and then tried sitting on Wilson. He started running away from the cheeks. I remember that. I don't get it, man. If you're going to do this as a job, why are you like, my job is going to be a fucking clown. And no shade on clowns. Clowns know what they're doing, but clowns are wearing the makeup. They're like, yeah, they've made it as a conscious choice. Him, it was just like, you know what it reminds me of? And this is like a red-pilled parenting thing where kids always want their parents' validation. That's, genetic, obviously. And for a lot of parents, they don't pay attention to their kids because they find them to be a bit of a nuisance, kind of annoying. Again, understandable. I am from the generation of kids should be seen and not heard. So I'm not throwing shade at that. But what happens is the kids then realize that if they get into something, if they break something, if they get into trouble, dad starts paying attention. Yeah, he's yelling at him, but at least he's paying attention. And this is what this strikes me as. It's not so much a like, let's look at these tards and laugh so hard. It's kind of like and I don't even know Andrew obviously knows his dad. I mean, not Andrew, but Owen. But Andrew, I don't know what his situation with his dad is like. But it does look a lot like the kind of people whose dad never hugged them enough. And it's so weird how we've turned into like defective women. Because it used to be, dad didn't buy Cindy that pony, and then she grew up to be a stripper. And now we're at the point that dad didn't hug Billy, and Billy grows up to be an online influencer. And I'm going, now it entirely could be possible that this isn't a case where like Will Smith would say, racism isn't getting worse, it's getting filmed. It might be a case that these type of people were always there. The problem is the 10% of people in the world that are absolutely ridiculous just now have podcasts. Entirely possible. He's married, though, in his defense. Aren't both of them married? And what does that matter? What does that matter? I used to think people are like, getting married is like a social flex. I'm like, yeah, if you're a woman, guys don't treat it as a flex. And the only guys who I've seen that treat it as a flex are either the devoutly religious, which everybody's doing it. So why are you flexing on the thing that everybody does? It's like, I go to church every Sunday. No shit. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? But the lot of guys that treat it as an aspirational goal are the kind of guys that no girl wants to settle down with. Again, I'm from that older generation. I am a millennial, but I was raised fairly around the Gen Xers. So I'm kind of like Mowgli from the Jungle Book, Yeah, guys with no options use marriage as a flex. That's actually a really good way of putting it. I can't get it, therefore it's an aspirational goal. Well, it's like, right now, I can't get Coke. I'm not going to treat doing Coke as like the ultimate flex. Who am I kidding? I live like 2 blocks away from a SoundCloud rapper bar. I could probably score if I wanted to, but dude. It's not for me. I think it's one of those things you have to do in your like teens and 20s, and if you don't, you just never catch on to it. It's kind of like weed. I never got into weed as a teenager or in like as a young adult. And so like now that I get older, I'm just like, meh. Give me a good old case of caffeine every day. It's not even F it. It's like, I don't have a very strong opinion about it. Did it for a little bit after I got out of the military and like a little bit of like my fuck you dad moments. And I was like, dude, this puts me to sleep, like to sleep. Which is great because at the time, like the military tried giving me Zappa clones all over the place. And I was like, yeah, those things taste like shit. This at least tastes better. And then cigars. See, I don't even like cigars either. It's not because I don't like cigars. It's just it's way too much tobacco. I hate the taste in the mouth. Pipe, fine. Pipe's always just like, it's a proper dose. It's like the 3 milligram Zins. It's like, that's fine. But either way, I'm not here to talk about vices. I'm here to talk about morons. But you guys aren't morons. Yeah, we all make mistakes. Rob's not perfect. Donald's not perfect. Can of Rockstar is not perfect. There will be a couple things in your life, if you're honest about them. You shed your ego and maybe even write them down, put them in a field report, send them to somebody here, and we all look at it together in the Red Pill Forum and my workshop or wherever. And you're like, dude, how do you not know this? And then you'll pull up an essay, or I'll pull up an essay by like Archwinger from 2014, or Whisper from 2012, or Roosh from 2011, or Rollo from 2017, or half a dozen other people whose names you don't even know but have put in an amazing amount of work for no reason other than they just needed to sort some shit out, and then they left it there for us. They're like, I don't need this anymore, take it. And we'll sort it out, which is awesome. Like that is a superpower that just has not existed in human history. I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that's like Gutenberg Bible, Lloyd's Coffee House level of shit. It's damned cool. Now, obviously, it's not just a singular tool that well-adjusted guys can use. 'Cause there's always like what they call as the toaster fucker scenario. You know the one where it's a 4chan post where some guy's like, back in the day, it used to be, I've always wanted to fuck toasters. And your friends would like call you a fucking weirdo, and then you just stop being weird. But nowadays, it's like, I just want to fuck toasters. And then you find a community of 1,000 other toaster fuckers around the world. And now you guys are one-shotted. Yeah, well, we get to see how people think through their problems. Well, I mean, it's not just a voyeurism thing either. I know a lot of guys just like reading and watching and the voyeur thing. There is a difference, though, because everybody, at least from like when I was first starting out, it was always guys who had been lurking for 6 months. Maybe they'd have a comment here and there, but never really care until something happened to them. And then all of a sudden, okay, now I'm invested. And what a lot of guys would find then is that casual perusal that I did wasn't the same thing as actually looking for things and investing in your own life. Reddit, see, I don't know how that place managed to survive. It is such like a weird Vatican City of Reddit, the Married Red Pill and the Red Pill place. And the Red Pill actively goaded trying to get blocked as like a cancel culture, come follow me. But yeah, it's not even so much like what to think. It's more just a how to think thing. And it's not like it's some extremely new high tech, like we're not Newton reinventing calculus here. But it's the same thing that would have happened if your grandpa was talking to you. And back then, the boomer generation, that's always people's thing about how like boomers have been one-shotted into buying into feminism and men are shit and women are great and all that stuff. It's because they also had like their grandfathers and their fathers from the silent generation and the greatest generation talking some sense into them, because they remember women back in the 40s. And let me just tell you, the women from the 40s were thoughts in the 20s, man. Those flapper girls, not even once, man. And then granddad, the silent generation guy, he remembers, oh, dude, the absinthe bars. You should have seen your grandmother, Esther. Oh, she was jerking off guys 3-4 at a time while high on wormwood. You're like, Jesus. Weren't you guys all prim and proper? Oh, yeah, she loved Jane Austen. It made her feel better about herself, but that's fine. The church forgave you. What happened to your eye, Grandpa? Oh, I got drunk one day and got in a fight, and I just lost an eye. You're like, Jesus. Is this the world they were growing up in? It's like, yeah. Exactly. Grandmother undressed for sailors. So they already had kind of a system in place, and then this weird cultural revolution thing. And I wish I could just blame it on communists, because that's too easy. It's arguably a technology thing, because obviously this whole thing came up at the exact same moment that industrialization came up. And that's not an accident. It's not a surprise. Once we had gotten rid of agrarian society and like cottage industries, and we started going to like factory living, things like communism was kind of inevitability. It's a very communal thing about industrialization, and I don't like it, and I don't think it's beneficial, but it's very clear it taps into the female psyche for their need for camaraderie and shit, right? So I get that. But so with that generation then, the boomers were fed a line. That line, the feminism, the equality, all that shit, and that's whatever. But they had their grandfathers and their fathers trying to talk some sense to them. Of course, boomers alienated everybody from their generation's like mentors. And so then Gen X kind of came through and they were double shotted with it. Here's Friends and Seinfeld, man. Men are shit, aren't? Am I right? Dev, you sent a super chat. I'll keep... Oh, I see it. I see it. I'm getting to it. Don't worry. I haven't forgotten it. And then the millennials were given even the worst stuff. They're like, oh my God, you know, it's great. You should put a black woman in charge, which, is she any good? Shut up, racist. And you're like, Jesus. And then the Zoomers are just like, they're in the weirdest place right now. They're like, what the fuck is going on? So yeah, we were kind of just like detached 2 or 3 generations from this stuff. And so you put a bunch of guys on the internet, you remove all of the social restraints. And that's the thing that gets me. It's like, this isn't a natural state of affairs. This isn't a natural outcropping. It's that all that technological change had kind of created a bunch of, what's the word I'm looking for? A bunch of third rails, or I think third rails, guardrails, a bunch of guardrails. And those guardrails are like, oh, we don't talk about this. This is taboo, not in polite society. We don't ever go this route. And so by restricting the things we were allowed to talk about, we're restricting a lot of things that guys are allowed to think about and the guys that are acting about it. Because as you know, language is one of those things. Once you start learning things, it starts changing how you think. It's like those old tribes that they don't have a word for blue. And so they can't tell the difference between blue and green. But they can tell you the 15 different shades of green, or like the Inuits have 15 colors for snow, or 15 words for snow. But they don't know what the fuck water is. And so, yeah, you put us on the internet and it's got that autistic thing where it's completely detached from all of these social guardrails that we have. And then what do guys do? Lord of the Rings, man. Or Lord of the Flies. It's Lord of the Flies. Not that shitty one where they like start killing piggy and stuff. If you ever watch the real Lord of the Flies, there was a bunch of kids that were trapped on some Polynesian island, some British exploration thing. What did they do? They immediately started collaborating. They started working together. By the time they got rescued, I can't remember how long it was later. It's like 6 months to a year later or something like that. They went down there. The guys had like a work schedule, rotation for hunting. They even built a bamboo gym. Like that was the one thing. There's a photo from it. It's probably like the coolest thing you've ever seen. It was a bunch of feral looking kids, all dirty faced, hair all sticking up. And there's like a bench press set up made out of bamboos and sticks and stones. And I was like, that's awesome. You put a bunch of teenagers together on an island, leaving their own devices. What do? They make Gold's Gym. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So it was exactly the opposite. So it turns out when they made Lord of the Flies, it was like a propaganda piece where some weesh, probably communist author was like, well, guys getting along and having fun, we can't have that. We got to make them feral and kill the fat kid. The fat kid lost weight and got jacked. All right, pause on this one. Dark Knight Dev, $5, 69 cent super chat. Thank you very much, sir. As a New Yorker, I will curse at you while changing your flat tire while a Californian will tell you he's sorry about your flat and then drive away. Oh, yeah, so you guys kind of get it then. It's the same thing, yeah, polite but kind and kind versus polite. I would argue that has to do with like, it's the British thing. It's a very British influence, like a northern and southern British difference. And you see it everywhere. Because if you watch anthropologists talking about like ghetto culture, you're from New York, so you probably don't know that. But in the South, like the Southern blacks and that, a lot of that was just rural British attitudes adopted by Southern Americans. That's why like the Southern Americans, like the whites, they're closer to like an aristocratic class culture British attitude. And like ghetto people were just like, Cockney English. The Northerners, they brought in a lot of the Catholics. So they kind of got like their melting pot thing going. So that's why you have all these differences. But yeah, it turns out the more of a hardworking and poverty country people come from, the more they have that, I'll be honest, but I'll also be kind. Because like there's a consequence to it. Meanwhile, like, yeah, if you get from the wealthier, the Southern England cultures. You tend to be more like, oh, that's a shame. Good luck, sir. I shan't be helping you. There's actually an old cartoon about this, like one of those 1800s political cartoons, where somebody's stuck in a lake and he's drowning. And the guy's like, oh, he feels so bad for these impoverished people. The guy's like, please, could you throw me a rope so I can get out of here? Oh, I just feel so bad. If only there was something we could do. Sir, I'm like within arm's reach. If you just reach your cane out, you could pull me in. He goes, yeah, it's a damn shame. The guy's like, I'm drowning. And so, like, these are all known things. But that's the point. You layer on years and generations of gaslighting, of feminine imperative stuff, and we've kind of got shorthand terms. Maybe it's not the most eloquent way to put it when we use our jargon. That's one thing I am constantly talking about in here and in the workshop. Why do you call them shit test? It would be much better to call them sexual confirmation test or something like that. And the guy's usually right. Absolutely. Because, like, there is a lot of confusion with guys when they assume any shitty behavior means a shit test. But it's not. Shit test is a girl feels sexual desire based on something you've done. And women don't trust their own instincts sometimes. And so they throw out this really shitty test where they act bratty to see if it's a genuine trigger. And normally the only way to pass it is by not spurging out. As long as you don't spurg out, you'll be fine. Interesting. But I didn't get to name it. Somebody named it shit test before I rolled along. And so shit test is the name I do, because that's the problem, is that everybody started changing names to be more accurate this and accurate that. And now we have like alpha is probably the easy example of why that is a bad idea. Because alpha was originally a very simple concept. For the pickup guys, it was just about the guy who gets the ladies, right? He gets laid, call him alpha. Just a Greek word, it works fine. And then Vox Day and those Orthodox Catholic, like the Andrew Wilson types, started using botany, like, well, alpha males are this and beta males are this, and like he's pinning them up on his wall. And then everybody started getting mixed up. Oh, this is supposed to be about guys that are hot and get laid. Alpha's the ones that get laid. Beta's are the guys that, settle down and get in relationships like cucks. And then this guy's like, well, the alpha males are this, and the beta males is second IC in the party, and the delta males are the ones you're thinking of, and everybody gets confused. And then what happens when everybody gets confused? People kind of drive towards a consensus. And the consensus is one of the worst things you can do, especially as a guy. Because you know who gets the most attention and easily built consensus? Retards. Do you know why? Because you can't help but look away. They're doing the dumbest shit. Like, dude, the Owen Wilson thing from right early on in the fucking episode that I was talking about. How many people? 41,000 people, and it's only been out since the 6th. So what is this? Oh, so he just tweeted it today. I have never, in my most eloquent and well thought out and intelligent and thoughtful and helpful and actionable posts ever, have gotten 41,000 views in like a couple hours in a morning. But he can go on there and be like, he insulted me. It's like George Bush, man. He made fun of my dad. We got to invade fucking whatever. Like, Jesus Christ. So that's what happens when you get consensus. The guys who are the most bombastic, the most salacious, I think is the word, the most insane, the most crazy, the most attention-seeking, they're the ones that win that war. And now we have a fucking alpha male and Sigma grind set. It's like, Jesus. So yeah, don't change the names. The name is what it is. Well, yeah, but the girls think it's just ridiculous and goofy. I'm like, fine. If anything, that's probably been one of the most endearing lessons that I took from the Red Pill. Was, and I can't remember if Gamergate came up with it at the same time or they did it originally. I think the Red Pill guys, like the early Red Pill guys, figured it out early. From the MRAs, if you can figure this out. Oh, fuck, we're going history again. From the MRAs, if you can get it. Oh, Dark Knight Dev, $2 super chat. My family is from South Carolina. I know the ghetto. Oh, so if it makes you feel better, you can just say your family is like from Essex County. Oh, I I descend from all kinds of Cockney English. The noble men of the earth. Anyways, what was I talking about there? Oh, they're the changing of the names and stuff. So what they figured out was every time people start, here's a little history lesson. No Ma'am actually talks about it in his blog from like a decade and a half ago. It's like a 15-year-old blog. He called it No Ma'am, based on the 1980s television show Married with Children, where they had like an anti-feminist thing. Pretty funny. But he talked about the history of MGTOW, and it was very enlightening. I actually love the history stuff, is the ones that fascinate me the most, because you find out why things are the way they are. So anyways, the men's rights organization, they kind of got their big start. They started in the 70s, but they didn't get big until the 80s and 90s when Usenet was a thing. Because they were like literally mailing out letters, newsletters. And then when Usenet came out, they would have like an alt.net.mra or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. And they would send their things about like, the standard MRA lines about the legal system being against you, can't see my kids, 80% of women do all the divorces, like all the standard shit that you see, like pablum tweets from Pajit sending over from America, or however I can't even pronounce it with a. And these guys would bust their ass. They'd be sending stuff week in, week out. They'd have to learn an entire new technology. Like, what the hell's DARPANET? Well, I better figure it out or I ain't talking about this. And then once it started to get traction, they would notice that, dude, this sounds good. And then like a girl would join. Like, hey, can I do this too? And they're like, yeah, of course. Guys loved it. Like, dude, this is the whole place about how girls are treating us bad. This girl is validating it. She's like, you guys are right. We are bitches. And they're like, fucking rights, man. And so then you get girls kind of signing up to do it. And the first girl was fine, and everybody's like sucking up to her and simping for her. And a couple of guys are like, dudes, like I've been talking about this for years. All of a sudden now the girl says it and you guys are like, shut up, you misogynist. And they're like, what the hell? That's weird. Then a second girl joins. And Ian Ironwood talked about this in Swing Sets and Sandboxes, the female social matrix, back in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. 2014 or 2012, and I'm pretty sure 2012. Where if you put two women inside of an organization, they will form a node. And what the node is they are continually competing against each other. Vicious, undermining, crab bucket stuff, right? Until a man tries to get in between them. And then they team up to take him down. So it's not about Cindy hates Mindy. It's about Cindy and Mindy want to argue over who's number one and who's number two in the fuck pile. And of course, what happens at this? If the concern now becomes which one of these girls is better status within this thing, what's the one thing that gets left behind? The whole purpose of the thing existing at all. And then the guys that understand this and they try joining the power struggle, I'm going to help this girl get ahead. I'm going to help this girl get ahead because maybe they'll give me a slice. And girls are very good at leading guys on that way and pretending like, I didn't know he was into me that way. I thought he loved giving me back rubs and hearing about my ex-boyfriends. Roll on an article, Medium is the Message, talks about that. How when they start giving you these mixed signals, that's a very clear signal that they're trying to lead you on. And so it's like, and again, it's one of those things we kind of discovered just by like pure A/B testing, is that when a girl is giving you mixed signals, she's trying to lead you on to steal as much of your time and validation as she can and offer as little as possible as affection the other way. And of course, guys got angry. That fucking bitch. And you're like, slow down. It's not being a bitch. I mean, it is, but it's not. It's just that's how they're wired. It's like you as a guy. You just do the things that make sense to you. And for her, that makes sense to her. And you can't blame her. Like, you can blame her, but you can't blame her. Because it's not like she forced you. She didn't, oh, I need you to sit here and hear me bitch about my ex. Like, she never do it or I'll kill your family. Like, no. You decided to be there because you believed I got a shot. And you didn't have a shot. You know this because every guy in his life has had that time where he walked up to a girl and he's like, hey, I just want to let you know over the last 7 years, I've had a huge crush on you and I think we should take it to the next level. And then the girl's like, ah, shit. No. But not no in the way that makes you want to turn me into a skin suit. So, wishy-washy, well, kind of no, sort of, maybe, hey, I got a husband now. Sorry about that. Well, it's the same as like scam. You're like asking, how come people still fall for scams or fraudulent things? They only work on the greedy and the desperate and the fearful. And for most guys, when it comes to sex, they are very greedy, they are extremely desperate, and they are mad fearful of rejection. And so they leverage these very human faults. And I'm kind of like it. I don't know how to like. I don't like the fault and blame thing because that's like what women and kids worry about. But I just think of it in the same realm that I think of as predatory loans. Like how much should people be protected? How much should the stupid be protected from the predatory? And the answer is not none. But the answer is not fully either. There's somewhere in there, in that spectacle of nobody can ever take advantage of the stupid. And yeah, of course, you should be able to statutorily grape a mentally handicapped, like, you know what I mean? I don't know where the line is. I just know it's not at 0 and not at 100. And I'm not going to, like, 50%. No. It's not 50% either. It's probably closer to, like, 80% you're on your own, with 20% it's like, dude, that's pretty fucking bad. Like, maybe Casey Anthony's where we draw the line, or the Theranos chick, something like that, right? But that's not the point. These are more value judgments anyway, so it's kind of outside of the scope of the red pill. But what do you do then? So when you realize, like, this is not a thing that works, because when your plan involves, if everybody would just X, then you're essentially just a shitty communist, because at least communists can get some communism shit going. You're like a shitty communist who can't even persuade shitty communists to be communist. So it's like, yeah, no. 69%. 69, dudes. Nice. So what do you do then, knowing that you can't change other people? You have a situation. It's all known. It's like, well, you just navigate it. Understand these dynamics. Make best decisions in the moment. And that's when the MGTOW guy started. So what they were realizing was there was all of these nodes of women in the MRA, and they were taking it over. And it got to the point that they were shutting shit down. They were taking, like, very eloquent and popular. I'm not going to say Paul Elam, because I think he was even a prick back then, but there was a lot of guys that Paul Elam screwed over back in the day, who were kind of what you would consider like the Rollo Tomassis of the MRA, the men's rights advocacy. And they were fucking done with this shit. And they got kicked out and they got ostracized. And even though they're like, dude, I made this place. What the fuck? Kicking me out of my own house? And so they went MGTOW. And that was the original definition of MGTOW. It wasn't men going their own way because fuck women and incels. It was men's rights advocates who were tired of women hijacking their shit in order to make it all about themselves. And they're like, you know what? We're going to make our own MRA. No women allowed. He-Man Woman Haters Club. And that's what the MGTOW originally was. And what happened was, for a while, things were good. They were essentially just MRAs, but no chicks. A lot of good stuff came out of it. And eventually what happened, since no women wanted to join, a lot of guys would join. And the problem is, once you get to a certain size of guys, you have a regression to the mean. Now, let me just ask you, you take a segment of the population that's interested in men's rights advocacy. Just think about what that demographic means. I'll help you out here. There's a small segment of guys who are truly screwed over by the system. They're smart, they're ambitious, they know what they're doing, and they just are trying to sort some shit out. And they like to talk about it and like to write about it. It's their niche, they love it. And then you get a big chunk of guys who are just clueless. My wife divorced me, I can't figure it out. And then you get a small segment at the end. The incel types. The types is like, women won't talk to me, they keep calling the cops. What's wrong with bitches? You know the types at the works, like, you need them there for IT, but at the same time, you're like, I don't want him near my children. So those MGTOWs came in, and the problem with those MGTOWs, I'm going to call them incels, but it doesn't really matter, black pill doomers, you can name whatever pejorative you want, it doesn't really matter. They don't want to win. They don't care to win. They aren't trying to solve anything. They just like the He-Man Woman Haters Club, and they're spewing all kinds of bullshit and nonsense, and it was like off-putting, and women hated it. And the MGTOW guys were angry. It's like, dude, I'm here for like the MRA stuff. I'm not here because I'm a fucking malcontent. And so they had this little battle. Eventually the MRA guys just left. They ended up starting a thing called Purearchy, which I am surprised nobody remembers Purearchy. They were trying to be like, I give up. I'm fucking done. I'm going my own way. They just gave up. Disenfranchised MRAs and pickup artists made their own MGTOW. No incels. No this. We're literally just going to go boating and fuck it. And it died off because it's just an anger phase thing and they get going. So the Red Pill guys kind of came around this time. And it was the one thing that they noticed was very interesting. Was like, did you notice the MRAs had a lot of women invade it? And now like Karen Strawn is the biggest men's rights advocate. Guys can't even run their own organization. And I'm not even throwing shade at her. I think she's awesome. But the point still stands. It's like the leader of the Ku Klux Klan being Jerome Johnson III, Esquire. And a bunch of the Red Pill guys kind of started talking about it and gossiping about this and that and the other thing. Back when gossip just meant analyzing shit, which was nice. And somebody noticed, like, did you notice that the more shitty the MGTOW guys got, the less women bothered them? And the Red Pill guy's like, that's kind of got a point. And so they kind of took on to it. So you got this guy, Dr. Warlock, and I think his is 2013, 2014. How to Get Laid Like a Warlord. It was bombastic. It was over the top. It was like, you want to fuck bitches like Genghis Khan? Well, here's what you do. And had two effects. The first effect was that women are like, ew. And I ain't going to that. Second effect was that women who write articles for Jezebel and Mother Jones are like, ew, let's yell at these guys because my lesbian readership loves yelling at men. And that caused the rubberneck effect, which again, it's a lot of what you see in modern marketing was really pioneered by old Red Pill guys or old MRA guys or old MGTOW guys like Cernovich, Tucker Max, Ryan Holiday, Mark Manson, Rollo, Roosh, Royce. These guys, as like them or hate them, but a lot of the gossip tabloid, technically this fucking Owen Wilson drama shit started because of that. And they figured this out. So you would write How to Get Laid Like a Warlord. And Jezebel bullshit would, oh, look at these fucking retards. And then a bunch of guys would end up like, oh my God, these guys sound horrible. Like, look at these neo-Nazis doing this and that. And then, of course, you're like, I got to see how bad it is. And then you go and read the fucking article. What does How to Get Laid Like a Warlord say? Hey, work out, stay in shape, drop some weight, be charming. Don't be afraid of rejection. It's a numbers game. You got to talk to more girls. It was like the most boilerplate advice ever. But because they had that title, How to Get Laid Like a Warlord, how to grape a girl's dreams, or all these like over the top things, everybody was like, huh. And you'd write one, and some guys would like, and you just shit on something, get mad at somebody, everybody yells at you. Then when everybody yells at you, there's a segment of people that hate those people. We're curious, how bad could this guy possibly be? You realize, actually, it's not so bad, and then they stick around. It's a weird filter feeding thing. Anyways, I think that time's about done. There's something new coming down the pipe, because as marketing gets good, people become numb to it, and then things have to change. I'm hoping that sincerity is coming back. I really do, because like this whole, I don't want to have to like defend the honor of my dad against Andrew Wilson on a debate stage, canceled boxing match or whatever the fuck. I don't have it in me. I don't. I'm getting long in the tooth. And the problem is with the new kids, they don't argue because they weren't ever bullied in school, so they don't have a chip on their shoulder. Anyways, so that's it for the Red Pill ones. We're going to switch over. I'm going to the other channel because we're going to have a much better conversation. Conan the Barbarian. Fuck this Red Pill stuff. Fuck the goofy Red Pill stuff. Conan the Barbarian. It is one of the all-time best movies. One of my all-time favorite movies. I must have watched it 100 times. It is the best pre-workout you can find. It is the greatest comic book movie that was ever created. And I'm not even being hyperbolic in there. It is, if you look at the people who've made it, it is some of the most amazing people, and we'll never do it again. We tried. We can't. And I'll explain all that in the thing as to why it's never coming back, why it's not getting on there, why it's like, yeah, it's memeable, and we got your interesting lines, and it's kind of goofy, and it kind of feels campy, but it was treated with such sincerity, and if you actually look at it, you're like, holy shit, this is high art. Somebody got mad at me, too, on Twitter. Well, if Conan the Barbarian is high art, then what's low art? And I'm like, that's Den from Heavy Metal, obviously. So yeah, we're going there. We're going to have so much fun. It should automatically take you there, and then when that's done, the Orion one will automatically move you to Rule 0. So hey, yeah, stick around. Let's have some fun. Where's my stupid little outro here? Let's get going.
$79T 2458 Learning Corp Little Red Riding Hood. Take one.
40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone. Does that make sense?
Where they say there are Indian people pooping on our beach.